Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. What is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I be. Good Doc, Dr. Mike TV. Back again, once again. You should already know, ladies and gentlemen, this one is poised to be an instant classic in the making. If this is by far your first time to the Dr. Mike TV experience, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and notify yourself to the content because over here we do our own thing. We have some fun, talk a little shit, but I think we enjoy it overall. All right, official time check. We're looking at what, 8:45 in the PM Eastern Standard Time, which makes it about 7:46 p.m. Central, which makes it roughly about what, 5:45 for everybody repping that West Coast, and of course, 8:45 in the AM Philippine Standard Time. Wherever you guys are reporting in the world today, maraming salamat sa lahat, and thank you guys for joining the Good Doc on a very, very interesting live show. Now, although I want to give everybody a fair opportunity to get into the building before we really get into it, I do not believe that this is a conversation that is worth dragging our feet on, because I do believe that this is a conversation that must be had. I know there was at least two videos in my past, one roughly about a year ago, the other one roughly about 4 months ago on the channel, wherein we kind of talked about this particular topic of conversation, but we kept it more so specifically Philippine based. But I do believe that this has become a worldwide, nationwide, international conversation, right? So all of my fellow passport brethren in the building, make sure y'all show some love. Y'all make sure y'all drop that like on the video. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and ask the question, ladies and gentlemen. Are passport men just getting the leftover women in these foreign countries? I repeat, are we only getting the leftover women in these particular foreign countries? Now, let me make sure that I clarify and specify when I say leftovers, that is not meant in a disrespectful, quote unquote, derogatory manner. Doc ain't out here over here, trying to get the feminists and all that shit to come shit on the channel because he's talking about women are being leftovers. Oh my God. Nah, we ain't on that. We are not on that vibe, and that is not what this live is about. But it's basically saying, are we as foreign men getting only the women that the local guys do not want? Now, like I said, I've had this conversation via video format. This is the live format. So this is where I encourage participation. For anybody who catches this live show after the show is over, make sure that you leave comments. Make sure that you don't forget to like, and make sure y'all, if you want to support in any capacity, y'all feel free to do so. But in reality, ladies and gentlemen, the big question is, are foreigners or passport holding brothers such as ourselves only getting the women that the local guys in any of these foreign countries do not want? Now, I'm pretty sure that the Western women are out there fucking rubbing their hands, doing the Birdman hand rub, talking about, oh, we got this brother over here on our side. He's over here agreeing with us and shit. No. Relax. We're going to get into it. But it's definitely a question that needs to be asked, right? I think that if we do not ask this question, we are not doing a service to our community as passport men. If you give me a second, y'all see I'm sweating. I got to get a towel. I'll be back. Give me 1 second. Hold on. My bad, y'all. I had just taken a shower. So your boy clean this shit, so fresh and so clean, and my pores are still opening up. So that's the dealio. Anyway, like I was saying, you'll have some people who will be like, oh, you are only getting the leftover women. These women don't really want you. They're just using you for your money. The same general narrative talking points that some of these young ladies happen to have in the West. But in reality, what they fail to realize is, and I'll say this time and time again, and I'll say it till I'm blue because I'm already black, but until I'm blue in the face, a lot of these women do not necessarily care to date the men in their own home countries. Is it a shocker? Hell no. Look at us, passport carrying men. Look at us. We're traveling. This is what we do for fun. This is what we choose to do, and the options that we choose to have, we definitely exercise them. So can you imagine and I said this in a video before, but I'm gonna say it in a live stream. Can you imagine if these women in these foreign countries had an opportunity to travel to meet different men? Do you not think that they would take up the opportunity? I'm not saying that they want to leave their country. I'm not saying things like that, because a lot of them really don't. Again, where I choose to travel more so in the Philippines, you do have a lot of people who will want to be OFWs and work in different countries. So it's more so from the reason I'm leaving, because there's better opportunities, not because I really, really want to leave. But in reality, like I'm saying, guys, a lot of these women don't necessarily care to date their own men. The same reason that us, as Western men, passport carrying brothers from the United States of America, choose to date them as well. Now, we talk about the term leftovers. As far as I know, roughly 99.9% of us have at least tried to date Western women before we opted to go abroad. True or false? Give me a T, give me an F in the chat if you believe that is true or if you believe that is false. That 99.9% of us, don't worry so much about the stats, but the majority of us have opted to date Western women before we opted to go abroad. True or false? I really want to know how y'all feel about that one. Some of us may have done different. Maybe we got into the military, we cut the fool, and we was traveling abroad and living our best lives. But the majority of us, right? The majority of us have opted to, in one way or another, date our own before we opted to go abroad. I believe that in that narrative, the same rules apply for the young ladies abroad. Yes, they've tried to date their own and they realize, yo, these motherfuckers ain't cutting it for me, right? These are not the guys I want to be with. So rather than believing that you're dealing with leftover women or the ones that these guys don't technically want anymore, I think it's safe to say that some of these women are just giving up on some of the guys there. Same way as us as men in the West kind of giving up on dating in the West. So it's not so much it's a leftover thing as it is, I want something different. I want something new. I've dealt with the same normal bullshit that I've dealt with a lot of guys that I probably dated in the past, speaking from the women's perspective in these foreign countries. I want to see what it's like to date somebody else, somebody from a different cultural background, somebody who is a little bit more cultured, somebody willing to learn a little bit about what I got going over here, somebody who is willing to accept me for who I am and accept me for, whatever it may be, and willing to be a part of this. From the opposite perspective of men, us as passport carrying brothers from the United States of America. Shout out to the passport bros. Think about it. Why did we decide to date foreign in the first place? Sometimes shit didn't work out, did it? Sometimes it just didn't work out for us. Sometimes we just said, you know what? I'd rather take like LeBron James did when he moved from Cleveland to Miami. Sometimes motherfucker was just like, yo, I need to take my talents elsewhere. That's it. Right? And you know what's funny though? I like to use that narrative and I like to use that talking point from what LeBron did back in the day because it's actually meaningful. And I want you to hear me when I say this because Doc's not talking out the side of his ass when he's having these conversations. He really legitimately means it. But think about it like this. Remember LeBron James when he maxed out his contract in Cleveland. He didn't renew the contract and he decided to move Miami, right? So the king of sorts, if you like to call LeBron James that, moved or took his talents to Miami, right? That would be no different than us passport carrying brothers taking our talents to any other place outside of the Western world, right? But guess what? What happened when LeBron James left Miami? Where did he go? Back to Cleveland. So it's not as if, and I know I'm usually in the minority when I say shit like this, but I want to be truthful, right? Because if I'm going to do it, you got to call a spade a spade. If you go abroad, right? If you have profound experiences abroad, you will continue to date abroad. But if it doesn't work out, maybe you got scammed, maybe you got fucked over, maybe you end up on Rafi Tofel. To all of my brothers who know about Rafi Tofel in the Philippines, right? He's like the Philippine version of Jerry Springer, right? So if you end up on his show or you end up dealing with a girl that didn't do right by you, because I'm not saying that every girl in these foreign countries are going to be the best. They're probably far better than the majority of women in the West. But again, not everybody or every girl you meet in these foreign countries are going to be the best. But guess what? Men, passport carrying men, black men from the United States of America with a passport. Guess what? If it does not work out for you, guess what? You can do exactly like LeBron did and take your ass back to the United States of America. And you see me looking over here in the corner, but I was looking into my microphone. But I think you guys are at least able to pick up what I'm putting down, ladies and gentlemen. We're not necessarily dealing with these leftover women. These women have probably conscientiously come to the conclusion that they men ain't shit. I hate to say it that way, but that's kind of how, if you ask most women in general, not necessarily foreign women or Western women, but women in general, they'll just tell you, these guys ain't shit. You know, they're a bunch of, in the Philippines, they call them chicks boys, right? Or playboys and shit like that, right? I guess it's the same as in the United States, but they call them chicks boys or fuck boys and shit. They'll tell you that's why they're choosing to date foreign guys. Now, that does pose another question, right? Is this woman just going to be accepting of any and every foreign guy who comes across her path because she wants to be with a foreign dude? That's when you got to do your own research, read between the lines, and kind of figure that out for yourself. See, a lot of men go to these foreign countries, but they don't come with at least the base knowledge of how to conduct themselves in foreign countries. In fairness, a lot of guys who travel to these foreign countries without base knowledge of how to fucking conduct themselves. And when that happens, you do find yourself in situations wherein you can get screwed over. So again, you got to watch the videos of these foreigners traveling to these countries because yes, although they do believe in the passport, although they do believe in travel, although they do believe in dating foreign and all of that stuff, they ain't going to tell you to just fly blind. You'll never find anybody online that'll tell you to fly blind. Any brother who's a part of this community will never tell you fly blind. Get your passport, just get your ass over here and figure it out. Nah, man, you got to at least come with some base knowledge or at least look to talk to the people who can help you get it right. Right? So that's pretty much my introduction, man. A little something that I wanted to throw out there and at least want to get you guys thoughts on. For those of you who just came in, y'all already know what to do. If you haven't already liked the video, please feel free to like it. You want to share it, Doc would highly appreciate that one. If you haven't subscribed, definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to support in any capacity, please feel free to do so. But like I said, man, Doc is happy and blessed y'all choose to come through and at least spend a little bit of time with me today. Now and then, let's go ahead and get the business, man. So let me shout out my people in the chat. Like I said, I just had to get that out the way. Shout out to my man, Reggie Dollars. What's up with you, bro? Good to see you, my brother Robert. You already know what it is, man. We definitely going to get it in tonight. My man, JX, he says, most men are getting someone's scraps. Well, it's a way to look at it. But in reality, like you said, that does pretty much attain or pertain to most men. There is likely some guy who has had the woman that you're with before you. Very rare will you find yourself an untapped young lady. Now, that brings up a great topic of conversation that we can kind of meddle in just a little bit. If you wonder why these older guys are coming to the Philippines, date these young ass girls, right? Your 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, they are doing that likely because A, they're more fertile, which I think is crazy if you're thinking about having a kid at 80. But second of all, they're probably, I would say they're probably less tainted or less tarnished, at least in these countries. I mean, at 17 or 18 in the United States now, it's a tough road, my friend. It's something, right? You already know, man. At 17 or 18 in the United States, man, in the Western world, man, that's a tough go because you don't know what type of promiscuity or activities these young ladies have been involved in the United States. So when I say that, I'm talking about legal age, guys. Let's not think below that. I'm just saying in general, dealing with 18-year-olds and stuff like that. You know, you want them that young because you think that they're untapped. And to an extent, in the Philippines and places like that, likely they haven't been as sexually active if they are. So a lot of guys choose to date younger women to basically, like my man says, you know, even though most men are getting someone else's scraps, they kind of date younger to hopefully avoid the idea of getting involved with something that somebody else has already had. But in reality, if they are able to catch them at that young, and let's say, for example, they did, or the girl did have a boyfriend or somebody they were dealing with before they dealt with you, chances are it was probably some immature guy that was their age, that was probably somebody they knew as a high school sweetheart, college sweetheart, or something like that. And, you know, it could have been a one and done. So maybe one guy probably was with them before the girl, right? Because the chances of getting a virgin, possible. But for me, it's unless you're in the market looking for it, a lot of y'all don't know how hard it is to get involved with dealing with young ladies who are still holding on to their V card, you know? Another story for another day. Shout out to my man Geechee. What's up, bro? He says, good evening, Mike. He said, you raised a unique question. I'm just bringing it to the table. I've talked about it before in a couple of videos. Now I think it's time for my gentlemen to have their say-so. I would love to hear what you guys got to say, because everybody's comments and content is going to be different on a particular talking point like this one. That's why it's time to open the floor. Let's get it. He says, if they already have children, they're someone else's leftovers. If they don't, they're not. Great perspective, and it's definitely a great way to look at it. You know, we often have this argument of sorts about guys who choose to date women with kids abroad but refuse to do it in the West. I made a video about it. I believe you got to call a spade, man. If you're not going to deal with a woman who has a child in the Western world, I don't think that you should go abroad and change that whole narrative. Yes, maybe the women abroad are a little bit nicer, a little bit more humbled, a little bit more, whatever, pleasurable to be around, submissive, the same talking points. And maybe those kids are probably not as bad. But yeah, and still, bro, let's call a spade, man. I don't see it being beneficial for you to be hypocritical because you choose to not date a woman in the West who has kids, but choose to do it in these foreign countries. I think that's stupid. Now, again, there's a big difference between dating. I'm talking about somebody you're looking to make a potential mate, somebody that you're looking to have a decent long-term relationship with, and as a result, that kid's going to be a part of the package deal, right? I'm talking about those types of relationships. Now, if you're just trying to slide, have a little fun, and she's game and you're game, I can't be mad at that, right? That's a little different. That's a whole different story as opposed to you looking for some long-term commitments, right? And I don't think that you should get involved in anything like that if you're not willing to do that with women in the West. I just look at it that way. Again, everybody's opinion is accepted. Like I said, one man's opinion is just one man's opinion. Definitely hear what you guys got to say. I see we got about 15 in the building. Appreciate you guys locking in, showing love to the good doc. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Doc would highly appreciate that one. If you guys want to support in any capacity because you're feeling like the good doc is dropping some knowledge tonight, having some fun tonight, Doc would highly appreciate that one. But you already know, man, I'm happy and blessed y'all choose to come through. Spend a little bit of time with the boy today. Now you're in business as usual. Shout out to my brother Earl Owens, all the way from Tacoma, Washington. Always love, my brother. Always love. Todd said, what does more cultured mean? You're right. I do believe that. I wouldn't say I misspoke, but I do believe that was probably not the right term to use in that particular situation. Going back to what I said, they're probably looking to date or deal with foreign guys because they come from a different culture. Not necessarily more culture, because of course, most guys are not, but they come from a different culture background, something that these women may be interested in knowing a little bit about. They're unique, they're exotic. So these foreign women that deal with these passport carrying brothers, I'll just call them foreign men in these foreign countries, there's a reason why they choose to, I would say, entertain and somewhat come captivated by a lot of the conversation that these guys have. It's all a learning experience. You learn a little bit more about her. She learns a little bit more about yourself. Shout out to my man Josh. What's going on, Jamal? Good to see you in the building, brother. Nah, it's not over, man. We're just getting heated, my dude. It's just getting heated. You said, is the video constantly loading for anyone else? Is my video not playing? Because I'm watching the playback on my phone and it looks like everything's going according to plan. I don't see any buffering issues. But if you guys are experiencing buffering issues, man, please let me know. It might be the internet connection in your area, but I hope that you guys are able to lock in. Give me some ones and thumbs. Give me some thumbs. Give me some ones if you guys are able to hear me clearly. If you're having buffering issues, let me know. My internet should be good. My internet should be all right, but if it's acting up for anybody else, let me know. Shout out to my brother K Dallas. Always my brother Mike. What's up with you, bro? Appreciate you locking in. My man Roy Jones. What's up with you, man? He said Western single moms are more demanding and unappreciative than Filipina single moms. Yes, I do agree 100,000%. Right? it always seems like there's a, how can I say this? There's always a demand. Like you said, man, this is what you got to do for me. This is what I expect. This, as opposed to being, you know, humbled in the experience and understanding that, yo, maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't be out here spewing that shit, or maybe I shouldn't be having all of these demands, knowing that I am a single mother. But of course, I do believe that, like I made the video earlier, shout out to my brother Darius M, that the beta men have really fucked up dating in the West, especially for these women, y'all. These beta dudes have messed it up because they're willing to accept women in any circumstance. They're willing to beg these women to come back. And as a result, these women actually believe that all men are supposed to act like this. So when we say we done with them, and we literally are done with them, and we choose to get our passports and travel abroad and deal with women from other countries, now all of a sudden it's a problem, because they're realizing that there's a lot of guys out there that ain't gonna put up with the same bullshit. And we all know, man, the majority of the women want 20% of men. And if you are beta in any way, shape, or form, money is not gonna help you. Y'all know that. But if you are beta in any sense of the word, chances are she don't really want to fuck with you anyway. She just wants you because you're there to be a resource, right? Like my man said, I know a lot of guys who've said this, but they'll be like, yo, if you look inside a woman's phone, chances are a guy's name is not saved by his name, but what he does for her. So if this is your weed guy, or your Uber, or the guy who drives you around everywhere, the guy who gets you food, you know, you're saved under food as a number. Like, it's shit crazy, right? But guys, this is the reality when it comes to dealing with single mothers, right? And I do believe that there is quite a few of them that are unappreciative, right? I mean, I don't know what to say against it, right? It is what it is. But in the Philippines, like I said, it is a little bit different. But again, whether they're demanding and unappreciative in the West, a little bit more humbled in the East, I don't know, man. Either way, I'm still a little skeptical or on the fence about basically getting into a full-fledged relationship with a young lady that is, you know, with child or already has had a child, right? Again, let me make sure I say this, because I probably haven't touched on it very much. But here's the truth. If you do have one kid, although I'm really not interested in dating single mothers like that long term, if I was a single guy, I would not hold it against a young lady in the East if they had just one child, right? It happens, right? Sometimes you get involved with the wrong motherfucker, he slip up, sperm hit that egg, gang, that's it, right? It happens. So usually I don't hold it against them, and I wouldn't hold it against them, you know? But if you got more than one and you got two and you fucked up twice, I don't know, man. If you fucked up twice, nah, I don't know about that one, big dog. I don't know about that one. Maybe that's cool for some, but I'm not the one. Maybe that's cool for some, but Doc is not the one, right? Like I said, I don't hold it against them because, you know, like I said, it could happen to anybody. But if you do it more than once, twice, two different daddies, fuck, different. If the father of the child is no longer amongst the living and that's why she's a single mom, that's a different story, right? If the relationship fell apart because of some, you know, shit, like I said, it's not my place to get involved in that. It's not my place to understand where that's coming from. But I personally don't want to deal with the headache of having to deal with the father of this kid. Because y'all know, man, y'all know, if the father was still involved, you're fucked. Even in the Philippines, y'all, I would never encourage you guys to really go all in on single moms and stuff like that. But if you did, this is the truth. Do not get involved if the father is still around in any way, shape, or form. If that man is still married to that woman, there is a such thing as adultery in the Philippines, and your ass can go to jail for that. You will pay a steep penalty if you are dating and or having relations with somebody who is deemed a single mother because they're no longer with the father. But if they're still married on paper, you're in trouble. Don't play those games, right? So now you see why even though it's in the Philippines, even though these women are a little bit more different, that would still hinder me from even remotely, how can I say this, pursuing a relationship with a single mother, right? 12 in the building, man. Make sure you guys drop your likes. Single moms are definitely a lot of work. That's true. Kids always come first. It's going to be very rare that woman would ever put you first, if they ever put you first in the relationship. So I don't see the benefit. There's very few benefits that I see in dealing with single mothers. The sex could be amazing. That's one thing I can say. The sex could potentially be amazing because they're going to do what they can to keep you as a man, right? Especially, I'm not going to say if they're desperate, but if they find themselves in a situation where they're looking for a man and they want to make sure they keep that man around, it's amazing the type of shit that some of these women could do. As a result, man, like I said, the sex could be astronomically amazing. So they could do everything to keep you around. But at the end of the day, is it really worth it? Only you could tell. Shout out to my man Chosen One. What's up with you, bro? He said, I've already hit the like button. I said, I know it's coming. I appreciate it. So the video's good. Everybody's coming through. That's good to know. He says, I think most of it has to deal with the finances. Well, there's very few situations, my brother, that don't really have finances attached to it. The young ladies who have the conversations about 100,000 not being a lot of money. Somebody said if you live in New York, it isn't a lot of money. And I do believe in certain areas that, that could be true. But in reality, if we're just talking about it from the dating perspective, if a woman's in the market telling you that you got to clear this much money to even remotely talk to her, that, my friends, is an issue. That's what I'm saying, right? That, my friends, is an issue. But yes, I do know that finances are usually attached to a lot of the talking points, whether you deal with single mothers, things like that. My man says, I've seen a few of the co-workers hook up with separated Filipinas that they met in Japan. They're still married to a Japanese guy. It's definitely too messy. You do get a lot of that from my veterans. Shout out to all of my veterans out there. Y'all know Labor Day's coming up. It is Labor Day, right? I pray that I'm saying that right. It's not Memorial Day. I think it's Labor Day. Shout out to all my vets in the building, man. Thank you guys for your service. Labor Day is official, more official than a whistle on Monday. It's a day off for me, so I'm going to go ahead and relax and crank out some videos for you guys. But that's about it. But yeah, man, it does get a little messy. Actually, no, it's a lot of bit messy. You cannot deal with women who are still technically married. That is a big problem. In the Philippines, like I said, you go to jail for that shit and you pay a fine for that shit. So this man, and let me tell you how it really goes. Let me tell you how it really goes. And y'all should know this by now because all men got egos, right? This is pretty much how it goes from the Filipino guy's standpoint. Let's say, for example, he was fucking around, enjoying living his best life, right? He got the girl pregnant, he's still doing what he's doing on the side, having his little fun and shit. Done already let it go, right? Didn't give a fuck about her. Probably ain't doing nothing for the kid. Could be doing something for the kid. Pray he's doing something for the kid, but maybe he's not doing anything for the kid, right? The only time he come around and give a fuck is because A, the girl is in the relationship. A, the girlfriend is she's in a relationship. B, she's in a new relationship. C, she happens to be in a relationship with a foreigner. Now, all of a sudden, that's when people start caring. Right? You're the foreign guy. Yo, they can finesse the system easier than anybody. Yo, this man over here sleeping with my wife, blah, 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 blah. You know what could happen. Let's not play stupid. But if you do find yourself in that situation and that's how it plays out, man, I can't tell you nothing but a thing. I can't tell you nothing but a thing, man. All I know is this. If you want to deal with single mothers or married women in general, not just Filipinas, just understand that there's probably some ramifications that's going to come with that. I don't know how many of you guys are willing to put up with the ramifications. I know a guy that was about to pay. No, matter of fact, shout out to what was it? My boy Richard. No, my man Sean from the 90 Day Fiance. I do believe that he was going to pay for the annulment for his wife to get annulled from that guy. whoever she was dating. So again, man, it happens. You got a lot of guys who are willing to commit themselves to it, pay all the extra money that they need to get their Filipina single. Usually that roughly accounts for or amounts to about $5,000 or $6,000 US. Could be a little bit more. You know, you might get the skin tax, the foreigner tax, so that might be a little bit about 10 grand. Who knows, right? But that's, like I said, it's not a headache you want to deal with, right? With all the available young ladies in these foreign countries, with all of the available pudan in these foreign countries, why in the hell would you deal with a woman that's already connected with somebody? Yes, I know you can't help who you fall in love with. You can't help who you try to smash. A lot of y'all just want to get your willy wet, and that's it. And y'all not thinking. Again, you're thinking, but you're thinking with the wrong head, right? Happens. I'm praying for you. I really am, but if you find yourself in that situation, I can't help you. He says, if you have a passport, you don't have to go to the East. Europe and South America are definitely excellent options. Yes. I chose Southeast Asia because that's where I ended up. I ended up enjoying myself the full extent of my entire time there. Like I said, if you do find yourself in, like I said, how can I say this? If you find yourself in Europe, Europe is a very free country. I just realized that. Hold up. I guess it does depend. It depends on, I guess, where you are in Europe, whether you're in a country that is considered to be westernized or not, right? Because for those of you who know about Andrew Tate, he was living in Bucharest. What was that? No, what the fuck is that? Bulgaria? No, I fucking lost. You know where he was living at. He was living in a foreign country, and he said it wasn't westernized. But if you think about it from, how can I say this? If you think about it from like living in a place like London or something like that, maybe you may deal with some westernized issues. If you're thinking about places like, what's that shit? Bucharest, Romania. Thank you. I was trying to get it right. I said, fuck, you know what I meant. But you know, he said that it's not westernized there in that particular area of Europe, right? Maybe when Ukraine was a place to go, probably not. But maybe even Poland, maybe not. But the UK, London, that area, a lot of people have said that it's become very westernized. So I guess it does depend on the certain areas in Europe and shit like that. He says, don't forget, if the man does not sign the annulment, it will take longer, as in 2 to 3 years. So you're going to have to grease it up and pay the man. Most of the prenups end up about $10,000 plus, but it is $6,000 normally. Exactly. Do you want to spend $6,000 on some used? Damn, I want to say pussy so bad. I'm going to just say pussy. Some used pussy. Do you want to spend $6,000, $10,000 on some vagina that's already been used up? That's where I would have a problem, right? That would be considered leftovers, in my opinion. If you had to ask, that right there constitutes some leftover shit that I don't think is worth it. There is no amount of. Oh no, man! I'm not about to pay for nobody to get divorced, bro. BK, what's up with you, bro? Like Mike, yeah, Romania, Bucharest, Romania. Thank you. Because I was slowly drawing a blank there, but y'all knew what I meant. My man said no love for the 304s, man. Me neither, man. My life goes on, ladies and gentlemen. My life goes on. He says that's in the Philippines. The price for the annulment, yeah, roughly about $6,000. I would say it'd be a little bit more, anywhere between $6,000 and $10,000. But at the bottom, about $5,000, $6,000 to get an annulment from a guy, for your Filipina from their ex-husband. Do you really want that? Fuck out of here with that, bro. You can miss me with that one. Yo, we got 21 in the building, man. Appreciate you guys locking in. Like I said, man, if you haven't already, make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. Doc, appreciate that one. If you guys want to support in any capacity, please feel free to do so. But like I said, man, just happy and blessed y'all choose to come through. Spend a little bit of time with the boy today. Now and then, business as usual. Let's go. A used car for $6,000. That's exactly what I'm saying, bro. Used. Who knows how many miles is on that shit? Why, Sway? How and why would a man willingly spend money to get a woman annulled? Just, bruh. And then hypothetically, what if it don't work out? Can you imagine? I spent all this money to get you out of a relationship with a guy so that I could be with you, and the shit don't work out. Oh, bitch, you ain't gonna talk to nobody else. You know, it's like that, right? And then now you really have a full investment in this young lady who is somebody else's used property, for lack of a better term, bro. For lack of a better term, it's already somebody else's used property. Is it really worth it? Hell no. Let's keep it a buck, but it ain't worth it at all. My man says, he said, I thought it was 3,000, just came back in, but I called what you said. He said that 6K is the worst case. I would rather deal with a Filipina that's not separated. A Filipina that's, that doesn't have, a young lady that's not in a relationship at all. It will serve you better. Trust me when I tell you, man. Sometimes it's not worth it. No, not sometimes, all the time. 99.9% of the time, it ain't worth it to deal with a young lady that's dealing with some bust-ass dude who already probably knocked her up, and if she's not knocked up, she's probably been used up. Come on, bruh. He said, would an annulment matter if you bring her over on a K1? Okay, I'm glad you asked that. Here's how it works. The initial paperwork asks that your Filipina be legal and able and ready to marry when she touches down. So her paperwork has to be legit. And they will find out if she was married prior to you guys getting engaged or getting involved. They will find out. That paperwork is part of, the packet when you initially start. So, right, you have to be able to provide a certificate of no marriage. That means a legally binding document that you got to get probably from like the courthouse or some shit. Where you get it from, love? Where do you have to get the certificate of no marriage from? God dang. The PSA, she says, in order for you to get it, you have to get it from the Philippine Statistics Office of the Philippines. So, yes, if it's on file at that office, ladies and gentlemen, you are fucked if you think that you're going to be able to slide in and get married. Not going to happen. Not even on the K1, man, because you have to be able to show that you are free to marry before you're even allowed to bring her here. I don't even think, bro, you can't even grease any palms to get that document, bro. You can't even grease palms to get that one. Usually you could buy damn near anything you need or any documentation, but that's probably one that you can't finesse or pay to get to go your way. 18 in the building, man, likes up. He says, watching Dr. Mike on my laptop and watching funny pet videos on my phone. Bro, you have the best life ever, bro. There you go. The CNOMAR, the certificate of no marriage. If you can't provide it, you and your boo ain't getting together. Again, why would you want to deal with those leftovers, man? Let's talk about it. Why would you want to deal with a young lady who's been with somebody already married? Maybe the relationship was sexless. That still does not make up for the fact that somebody had that before you. Because who knows what it was like years ago. If you want something used, I mean, I can't stand in your way because, again, you can't help who you love. I'm praying that you don't. Best case scenario, I'm praying that you don't. He says, I think you pay for somebody annulment. You got to be desperate. Yeah. Bro, if you pay for somebody to get annulled, you have to be. Hey, what you got? What's up? Oh, just fucking some shit up. Anyways. Yeah, you got to be desperate to pay somebody else's annulment. Like, all the available young ladies in any foreign country you choose to travel. I'm speaking more so about the Philippines because I know that you have to be annulled there. But how fucking... Bruh, bruh, how desperate do you have to be to go that far? Commit yourself to bro, you are invested in this at 6K. I don't even think you'll get your ROI on that one. You will not get your return. I can't see it being possible. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're looking for as a return. I can't see you getting your return. He says, Doc, what are the chances of finding a beautiful Filipina without a family, such as grew up in an orphanage? I actually know somebody who did grow up I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I think my boy Jerry, shout out to Philippines and Beyond. Jerry, his channel, I think he said his wife kind of grew up, not necessarily in an orphanage, but I think she grew up without a lot of family. What are the odds? Slim to none, because Filipinas have big ass families. That struggle is real. But you know, at some point it doesn't matter because you can't deal with a young lady whose family has their shit together, right? Somebody where you're not required by law to take care of the family and shit. You can find young ladies like that, you know? And again, it depends on who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with somebody who will put their foot down and somebody who will take a stand and say, yo, man, this ain't happening like this, you're good. Are those few and far between? Absolutely, because there's very few people who will stand up against the family. But it's not impossible to find that, but you just have to have one that has a good head on their shoulders, one that's willing to stand up to the family in any regard, defend you against the family as long as you are doing right, and be willing to say, no, man, we ain't got it. It's not gonna happen. I mean, but to find them like that, orphans and shit, I don't know, man. But there are some that come from smaller families. Maybe the father was never around. Maybe they got a mom and like a sibling or some shit like that. So you may deal with them in smaller family situations. Maybe not zero family, but sometimes you can find them with smaller families. Not always possible, but anything is possible. My man says, damn, they are strict on that. See no more? Definitely, man. That shit is real, my boy. Yo, 18 in the building. If you haven't already dropped your like, man, make sure you guys drop your like, man. Again, if you guys want to support the good doc, if you love the content we putting out tonight, if you love it, want to support it, please feel free to do so. But yo, let's go ahead and lock in. Give me a second, y'all, because my shit's about to die. Hold up. Red alert, red alert. All right, y'all, I'm back. Anyway, yeah, man, they're definitely strict on the CNOMAR, man. That certificate of no marriage. If you're on a fiance visa, oh, please believe, bro, you're going to have to show them that your wife is free to marry or your fiance at that point. Leftovers, man, for sure. My man says, think about the damage she has because of being left behind. She'll have both daddy and mommy issues. He said, I would not get into that. I mean, it's a definite question. It is a needle in a haystack, Mike, to find a Filipino with no family. And yeah, her mental state would definitely be one for the ages. I can't imagine her growing up cool, calm, and collective with a good head on her shoulders. I can't imagine her growing up not fucked up. That's sad to say, but it's the truth. Because that mental, I mean, because you're seeing all these people who have families and relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins, a mom, a dad, an aunt, uncle, grandparents, and shit. But you ain't got none of that. Yeah, a woman who grows up in an orphanage or grows up without a family, it may not be the best route at all. And the reason it's not is because, like you said, you don't know how damaged she is. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes dealing with, I won't call them damaged Filipinas, but Filipinas who have been through things, I do believe to an extent it would have, if you do right by them, it's going to be a process, of course. But I do believe that they will appreciate you a little bit more and they'll be loyal to the team regardless of any fucking thing. Probably find a girl that'll kill for your ass. Babe, would you kill for me? No, I'm asking my wife. Give me a second. Would you kill for me? No. Come on. It's a yes or no question. She said she would kill for her bestie and help her hide the body. I don't think that's me. Anyways, anywho, like I said, let's not talk about murder, but you get the point, right? Sometimes loyalty to the team is important. So, at some point, it's just like, you got to be careful with the young ladies you choose to deal with. Although from the resume or on paper, it looks like a good idea to deal with somebody who's not, family structure, without a family structure, because, you only have to take care of her and her only. But Yeah, that could end bad. That could end up very destructive too. She could be finessing. She could be scamming, man. She could be doing anything to survive. Because I think that's what you're going to find. When they're mentally unstable like that, they're going to do what they have to do to survive because they never had anybody to take care of them. So they're not even going to believe that you're even capable of taking care of them, that you're even capable of being a good person. Or if you are being good, you're being good for a reason because you do not know all the people that may have fucked her over before you, right? So it's a toughie, and I wouldn't recommend it. But hey, man, anything's possible. You may find one with a great head on her shoulders. I pray it would. I don't know though. He said we are looking at all this wrong. Western women have standards. Guys just have to step their game up. All right, chosen one. So would you date a woman in the West? I just want to know that question. After spending as much time abroad as you have been, would you consider dating a woman in the Western country? And if you say yes, I would love to hear why. I want you to understand, like I said, man, I talked about the LeBron James concept, right? I spoke about it. And for those of you who missed what I mentioned when I talked about the LeBron James concept, when it comes to dealing with foreign men and going abroad and shit, remember, he started out in Cleveland. He moved to Miami, no different than a foreign guy choosing to date abroad, right? But then he also went back to Cleveland. So it's not as if, like, you know, you go back home if something didn't work out and you go back with open arms. I mean, I don't know how that works, but, you know, it does depend. Everybody has the right to do and date who they want to. And yes, you're right. Western women have standards, but sometimes those standards are just unrealistic. Because if you think about it, if we talk about it from the standards perspective, we're talking about, we have women out here that will basically say, if you're not at least 6 feet tall, you can't do shit for me. If you're not, I'm sorry, 6'7", 6'8", 6'6", right? So basically, I've been eliminated because I don't meet the height requirement, right? That's kind of how I look at it. You know, the standards are just unreasonable in a lot of the situation. If it's a financial thing, like I said, that's always going to be questionable. It's always going to be debatable. But when it comes to height requirements, right? You know what I'm saying? You got women that say, yo, you got to be 8 inches long or some shit like that. I mean, let's not talk about, let me stop. Let me bring that back. Because I do not want to talk about the size of another dude. That sounds really, really not me, right? That sounds really flexible. But like I said, man, height requirements, you know, I think that eliminates a lot of guys. And that's a standard that is unrealistic when the average height for a guy in the United States is what, like 5'8", maybe 6 foot? I don't know. But you know, standards do be a little bit rough for some of these young ladies. It's not so much the financial part, because like I said, you're always going to have people who are going to debate on that one. But when they say, yo, if you're not 6'7" or 6'6", I don't want to talk to you. Huh? What? You know, I just think that shit's crazy. He says standards of being over 6 foot tall and making 6-figure incomes. Thank you. Right? Now, again, I try not to really focus on the financial aspect of it because I would hope that all of my brethren are doing what they can to get their money up. But in reality, not everybody's going to clear 6 figures, right? Not every man is going to clear 6 figures, $100,000 minimum every year. It's just not likely for a lot of guys, right? Not when I want to say 60. What did my man Phil from the Phil Scott show say? I want to say he said about 60% of African American men are only making roughly about $45,000 to $47,000 annually. And that's just the statistic. I might have gotten that percentage wrong. Maybe you guys, if you do the research on it, maybe, you know, you'll be able to tell me otherwise. But I do know that a large percentage of men, more specifically African American men, are making less than $50,000 annually. But you're telling me, I'm not saying that it's impossible for somebody to level up and get right, right? That's why I don't like having these conversations. But to an extent, you got to understand that that's not going to be everybody's criteria, right? That's not going to be everybody's criteria. But if you make it a demand, you're pretty much eliminating a large percentage of men, right? A large percentage of guys. And that's just kind of how these demands have become hella unrealistic, right? It would be different if you're telling guys, look, man, I just want a guy that's nice, that'll treat me good, that'll take care of me and do that. And you'll likely find a dude like that. But no, The delusional reality that a lot of these women in the West come with is, yo, you got to be X amount in height. Trust me, if you tell me anything over 6 foot, I'm already eliminated, right? But in the Philippines, bro, when the average height for a dude like 5'4", maybe 5'5", you're looking at a giant, baby. When I go to the Philippines, right? And again, they don't really have a height requirement in the Philippines, but I'm just saying in general, if height was a thing, tall for a Filipino is like 5'6", 5'8", like what I am, right? But, you know, I just kind of feel like the demands are just hella unrealistic, which is why a lot of guys are like, yo, man, I don't see any benefit in this shit. I don't see no benefit in it, right? But anyways, man, we got 14 in the building. If you haven't dropped your like, man, please do so. He said 41K, Doc, and white men is 52K average. Okay, so 41,000 on average for African-American men, and white guys make on average 52K. So even the white guys wouldn't even make the cut if you talk about the man got to make $100,000. Yo, Mike, what percentage of men, damn, that's a hard one. I want to say what percentage of men clear $100,000 annually? Maybe you can get those numbers, maybe not. But again, like I'm saying, on average, this is what guys clear. 41K, white guys clear 52K, right? Those are still not numbers that are meeting the demands of women in the West, right? These numbers still don't meet them. They still don't meet them. And it sucks. Hey, man, drink one for me, man. I can't drink right now. I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to do right. All right, y'all. Definitely interested to hear what you guys got to say, man. I hope that you guys did enjoy this particular conversation. Like I said, I just wanted to come on, politic with you guys for a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content, the conversation of the day. I hope that I wasn't delayed in anybody, you know, my internet was fucked up. I hope nobody had any issues on my end that you guys couldn't hear or see me. But if you did, my bad. But we're going to just keep it pushing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep you guys on very long, man. Again, shout out to all of my brethren, you know, my silent partners out there, the people who just show up and sit in the background and just listen to me politic and talk my nonsense. Again, my channel would not exist without you, okay? First and foremost, to all of my brothers who show up in the chat, conversate with the good doc, man. Keep me on my toes. I appreciate you more than anything or anyone will ever know. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all have this one. Shout out to my brother Joseph, man. We just about to shut this one down, man. We're just about to go ahead and shut it down. But like I said, guys, I appreciate you locking in. Appreciate you guys enjoying the content. For those that watch this on the replay, love you 100%. But y'all should know, man, it's about time for the good doc to go and get to getting. Hey, man, y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed, man. Doc is out. Peace.